Okay, here we got the sail. It's completed as far as the building goes. Now we're just going to prime it all up. We got this one primed, the other one needs to be primed yet. But so far I got like tan color on both of these, and this is going to be a rust color. So it'll look pretty good once it's all done. Okay, here we got wind deflectors. We're going to have these little brackets here, and I've drilled a hole through the center of them, and they're going to be attached like so on the arms. So these wind deflectors will be sitting like this. So the way I did it, made up this little jig. So to drill this hole in the bottom, all you have to do is slide it in the jig, hold her upside down, and you can drill your hole. And once you got your hole drilled, then you use the jig, you just flip it around, you got the straight edge here, and it'll stop against the arm. You just line it up with this point here, and you drill your hole. And you'll notice I have some blue tape on there, and that's to give you the depth stop. Now, I've cut these dowelings down so they go half and half in the arm and half in this bracket. And we're just going to use Tight Bond 3 to glue them in. And then we use a clamp to hold it until it dries. Okay, you're going to have to make one of these. All it is a piece of aluminum. It's 3 by 3, and you put 4 holes in it, and these 2 holes are for the screw holes so you can screw into the wood. And the thickness is 1/8. Okay, this is the hub we're going to be replacing. I've already made a hub for this particular windmill, but we're going to make a hub for another windmill that I'm working on. So now to measure this thing, we've got to figure out which one we're going to use for the top. So we'll just pick this one, and we'll call it the top. So now the reference will be coming off this edge and this edge. So you want to measure your distance right to the center of each hole. So you have the measurement on here and transfer it onto the block. And the block is 3 inches by 3 inches. So that's your first line. And we're coming off of this reference point. All we do is have 2 reference lines, this one here and the top one. And we take all our measurements from those edges and just look to the center of the bolt, mark it on our square, and then we drill them out. So here we made a template here. I made this for the other one, and what happened, this hole was out a bit, so I reamed it out. And now what I do, I got a piece of 2-way tape on the washer, and I know it has to go to the far side of that hole. So I just put the washer down and stick it on there. So now that'll be in the right spot. So now all I do is transfer it over to another block of wood, lay it on top. I usually stick it with 2-way tape, stick it on there, and just pre-drill these holes so you know where the holes are going to be. And then after you get that done, you've got a perfect template. Now what you do, you want to lay it on your block. So here I've cut out a block. It's out of cedar. It's 3 by 3 by 3. It's just a little bit under 3, so when you get your arms in here, that you apply good pressure to both arms when you tighten these bolts. When you have this front aluminum plate on, it'll work very good for you. So what we do, we put a piece of 2-way tape on here and we stick it to this block, and we just start some holes in there. So we'll just start them so we know where the holes are. So once you get these holes started, you want to do it on the opposite side the same way, but do not flip your block. Keep your block facing you. T is for top, and that's up, and it's facing you. So now you stick it on the back of this block. So once you got the 2-way tape stuck on here, you do the same thing again. You pre-drill these holes. I found, like if you're drilling on the drill press or you're doing it by hand, it's best to go in just a little over halfway from the one side, then come from the other side and drill to meet the holes somewhere in the center. And you'll find out the holes line up a lot better for you. Drilling end grain, the bit always wants to wander one way or another. So these holes came out really good. The next operation is we're going to be cutting a dado in here. We're just going to use a saw blade. So we'll be cutting in this way. We'll start in the center here, and we'll figure out how thick our beams are. So now this one's going vertical. Now on the back side, you want it to, this one will be going horizontal, and the back side will be going vertical, so it'll be going this way. So it's a good idea to mark it and just give you a rough estimate where you want to be, because we'll set up the saw just off center here, and we'll keep working out until we find the right distance here for our arm for the sails. So this block here, we drilled the 4 holes. We first did quarter, and we went in just over half. And then we came in from the other side. Once we got all 4 holes drilled, then I went to another drill bit, which is 2 sizes over a quarter. I just want some room in there so it doesn't seize up. So this is 2 sizes bigger, so that makes it 9/32. And this way, if the bolt rusts or anything, you will never have trouble getting this block off. So that's what I did, and it's worked so far very good for me. Now we have a jig here. I use it for clamping into piece. I know you could just set up your fence and push it through, but I don't find it very safe when you're cutting so deep into a small block. So I have this jig I made up, which clamps the block into place, and you can cut it safely. So what we'll be doing, we'll be running in one way, turning the jig around and running it through the other way until we got the right amount of material removed. Okay, next we'll be clamping it in our little jig here. We'll have a backer block here, try to prevent some chip out. I think I'll put some tape on here. Okay, That fits. And this is how the hub is going to be oriented. We'll be putting this plate on top, and on the windmill, the bolts will go and sandwich both of these together, and it works really good. Then we got a cap for the hub, and it's drilled out on the back, and we've got the chamfer on the front face, and it just has to be painted still, and that'll mount right on there with 2 screws. You can see the opposing holes here. This is where the screws are going to go through, grab a hold of the wood. And that completes our hub.